on abstract. Let's see, let's make sure that we are there. Sometimes you don't know. All right. Looks like we're going. So awesome. All right. Welcome everybody. Great to have you joining us. This is like early morning stream time for me. It's 7 a.m. Where I am. I'm very excited to be joined by Roach Coach from Roach Racing Club. In a couple minutes, we'll hear from him talking a little bit about what Roach Racing Club is all about. Their kind of vision, how they came into existence, what they're working on. And then, as we do in all our Spredict Live episodes, we will dive into some picks. My name is Fred Endy. I am one of the three co-founders of Spredict. Spredict, for those of you who are just hearing about us and just learning a little bit about what we do, we are a gamified prediction platform with the goal to change the way that gamers think about predictions and prediction markets. We're built as a subscription service, so you can play for free, or you can play for a month or a season for a sport or type of event that you enjoy. But once you subscribe, you are in and you get to play our games and compete for prizes. We also do things a little bit differently. Our games are not the standard pick the winner style games. Instead, we add in some really interesting strategic and gamified elements into all of our games to make the experience a little more interesting. And then we also build out custom prediction pools. So if you are a project lead, an owner of a lounge, you're really into UFC or F1, right, or any sport, you're interested in working with us into the future to build out some prediction pools for your communities, we are excited to help you build those out to increase engagement and to basically have fun. So that's what Spredict is all about. As I said, here with Roach Coach, very excited to connect with the Roach Racing Club team. It's an amazing idea. It's a ton of fun. And Roach Coach, why don't we open up to you to introduce yourself, maybe talk a little bit about how Roach Racing Club came to be and some of what you're working on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Fred. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure. And my name is Eldar, but I go with the name Roach Coach, and I'm also one of the three co-founders of Roach Racing Club. And I'm the talking head. I'm representing the project. I'm in charge of all communication. And so Roach Racing Club, it's all about gamified trading competitions. So you can think of it as scalping trading on steroids. We invite players to become intergalactic roach coaches. So you're becoming a coach and you are managing and controlling your cyber roaches. Each of your cyber roaches is connected to a specific crypto asset, and the better when you compete with other players on the racetrack, the better you trade. We have this trading terminal right inside the racetracks, and the better you trade, the faster your roads run. So we have kind of two layers of gameplay. One is a tactical layer, is just we call it trading on the race. So you select specific roach and you have something like 3 minutes to reach to cross the final line, to be the first to cross the final line, and you do your tactical trades inside this particular track. But on the other hand, we have a strategic layer, and it's all about what kind of roaches you have, what kind of assets you have, because you can have a BTC roach, you can have a Ethereum roach, or you can have some pretty volatile Pengu, for example, roach. So right now we're kind of trying to balance the game because like for all of our active participants, they know that this week we had a kind of a Pengu Gate event where with very huge volatility and stuff, players who were controlling Pengu roaches, they had a advantage on the racetracks. So we kind of working towards it. We're balancing things, and we adjusted the penalty, because just like in real life, when you can trade BTC, you can trade Ethereum, you can trade Solana. It's kind of more conservative way of trading, right, in crypto. But on the other hand, you can trade meme coins, and of course you can win big, but also you can lose big. So in our game, there was a like this week, it was a kind of the disbalance that you can win big, but you cannot lose big. So we fixed that. We fixed that. There's like a new patch. It was at some point it was like the patch went too hard, and the roaches were even stopping. So they stopped on the racetrack, and it was pretty fun moment.
They just got off the track. They were like, "We're
Yeah,
out."
yeah, 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 yeah. So right now we fixed that thing. We balanced it. Still testing, still testing. Because the thing is that our game mechanic is absolutely unique. It's absolutely new. We're not
Totally.
like we're not trying to take something from Web 2 and bring it to Web 3. I mean, I totally respect this approach. Nothing against it. I mean,
Yeah,
you can take something from Web 2 and make it really cool in Web 3. It's totally ok for me. But it's just our case. Our case is that we have a novel game mechanic, and we have to learn, we have to experiment, and
for sure.
we don't have answer to specific challenges that this gameplay brings. And so, but after we had lots and lots of people playing, lots and lots of people sharing their vision, opinion, suggestions, so we're fixing on the go, and getting ready for the next phase. So the next phase incoming, the next phase is all about wagering. So people will have an opportunity to actually put money on the table. So it's a next level experience, because right now what they put on the table is our in-game token that is mutagen. Basically, you can earn mutagen in many ways. You can do some social activities, daily rewards, and stuff like
Sure.
that. But when you put like money on the table, when you put your chips, you have a different kind of attitude
Yeah.
attitude towards it. So this is gonna be the next phase, and we are getting ready to it.
I mean, I'll say, Roach Coach, that the model is very innovative, right? It's a really, really cool design. And I think what you shared is really very true. If you are building something that is very novel, right? That hasn't been, it's not like a replication or an extension of something. It's very different. Then you you don't you don't really have a model for some of the challenges or changes that will come up, right? So it does require the team and the community to be like really open to things that shift or change, right? It's sometimes tough to predict where things will go, right? So like the Pengu Gate, there was really no way to determine that those people who are racing with Pengu roaches would have like such an advantage, right? And then, as you were talking about, so then in trying to rebalance it, it's like a seesaw, like, right, like a fulcrum or a pendulum. It goes back and forth, right? So you have those roaches who now like aren't racing at all, right? They're like totally stopped, right? And so it makes for a lot of really valuable learning, right? And so one of the things that I'm interested in too, from what you just shared, in talking about that wagering element, is the thinking that, so let's say I found you to be a really good um, tactical and strategic kind of roach coach. If I wanted to wager on your roach, could I do that? Is that part of what you're building out? So you almost have like spectating wagering too. How is the wagering going to play out?
From the very beginning, our position on that was like, first thing first, you have to start on like wagering in a way that you participate in the race. So let's say,
Yep.
like, the model is pretty simple. 10 participants, let's say it's a $1 race, let's call it.
Okay.
The different tiers, like, let's say the first tier is $1 race. So 10 participants, each is putting $1 in the bank.
Got it.
The first place will take $5. The second place will take $3. The third place will take $1.50.
Got it.
5% or 50 cents in this case going towards our treasury. It's our
Got
business
it.
model, basic approach, commission based. Think of us as a gamified exchange.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, this is the core basic model. This is something that we're going to be introducing first thing first. This is like the big next phase, and we
Okay.
believe it's gonna be like it's gonna change how you play actually. But before that, you have to fix a lot of things. You have to finally agree with everyone who is playing right now that the game is balanced. You have to agree that there is equal opportunity to everyone. You have to
Sure.
if we're talking about like when you're losing or earning money, like it's a competitive kind of thing, and competition should be balanced, right? So, and it's a pretty hard thing, but I think we're pretty close. We're pretty close to balancing. So basically, this is the first step, and we have also a lot of other elements that we have to integrate. A lot of other elements um, of the gameplay, starting from different types of leaderboards, group play. We call it syndicate. We also we're going to introduce inventory, customization. There's
Cool.
like so many cool things that we want to bring. Roach reroll and a lot of meta gameplay features, a lot of features connected with like wagering and stuff, different racetracks, and really a lot of things that
Awesome.
we have
Yeah.
in the pipeline. But what you just asked is a very complex system. It's a very
Yeah.
complex system when you allow other people to bet on these people who are so this is just another layer.
Sure.
So for us, we from almost from the very beginning, what we have been thinking is that probably for us, the great solution is to focus on delivering our core functionality and probably somehow work with other services, work
Yeah.
with other who are specializing in this kind of thing. So for us, probably it's much better to create, let's say we have a leaderboard. Let's say we have top 10 players of this week. Then we can let them know, hey guys, you've been doing really cool. You are invited to very specific Sunday derby,
Nice.
Sunday tournament that is happening with our partners at Spredict, for example, right?
Yep.
And we have a special prize pool, and we tell other communities, other participants of
Awesome.
our communities, we tell them, hey, so there's going to be these guys. They are really cool. They are really strong. So, and they are going to be competing. And you know what? You can bet on them. So there's now, this is like,
Yeah.
we're layering this stuff. But cool thing for us as a builder, I think the most challenging thing that every builder is facing is prioritization. Like
For sure.
so many
Totally.
cool things you can deliver, but every moment of time you have to select the most important thing, focus on it, and deliver it as fast as possible. So this is our general disposition. This is how we approach our development.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point, and it's so true. I think that, you know, that is actually the toughest part for any builder. I mean, the building itself is a challenge, but a lot of times, ideas can come fairly quickly, and even some of like the coding and the work in the back end, like not necessarily fast, but there's a process to it, right? The hardest part is prioritizing, because you are constantly faced with different pathways you can take, and it can be really hard to select not only a pathway, but the pathway that is going to be the best for your community, for your project, right, for what you're building. And I can just share, I mean, we've been working for over 2 years, and there have been some times where we've thought we've made the decision that was correct and that we prioritized correctly, and then realized it wasn't the case, and we had to backtrack, right, and kind of go back to, it's like if you're in a forest and you think you're going the right pathway, but then you realize you're not, and you have to go back to that other location and take another path. We've had to do that a number of times, which is important learning. But yeah, it is really the most important part of building work. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
appreciate you sharing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So
Limited resources, limited time, limited attention. Work with that. Deliver
absolutely.
something that can hook you up. Yeah, absolutely.
And I
So,
think
yeah.
that, yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, no. I just want to say that this like mm, this layer of like betting on other people is so attractive, and from like the perspective of the user, they're like, oh, why don't you build this, why don't you build that? But actually, for some people, like people like how if you're a non-builder, if you're just a consumer and you never built anything. I used to be that way. And then
Yeah, same.
I was watching things and I was like, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Where is the leaderboard? Oh, you have a loot box. Where is when I will open my loot box? I need to customize my roads. But for me now, when I see that, I understand that this is like okay, even like every small step actually it's like it's so it's like under the hood there's a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of and every work is so connected, interconnected with all the things, so you have to and especially when you build a web3 project. What is the difference with the like web the core difference for me if we talk about web 2 and web 3 project? For me, the core difference between web 2 and web 3 is that web 3 is connected with the open market. When you
Mm-hmm.
have an open market, when you have like each of your assets are on the open market, then you have a challenge. And when like Clash of Clans, for example, you
Yes.
have you have three types of tokens, but no one is able to go to sell them, buy them, and do the things. So you can rebalance, you can nerf it. It's not on chain. You can
Right.
play with it, you can adjust with it. Okay, it's been several months of testing this approach, maybe we can rebalance it, stuff like that. So web 2 games, they nerf things almost on a weekly basis. I mean, some of them, or at least
Right.
monthly. You can nerf it, and it's a closed economy. But still, lots of games are struggling to find a balance.
Yeah.
But for us, it's an open system with the open market, and when you put things on chain, then you cannot change them, man.
That's right. That's right.
Until you reboot everything. So
Right.
yeah.
The, it's such a good point. And you know what else I think is a little bit different? Um, it's so true. You're really making me think. One of the other things that also I find is so funny is there is a different perspective on time in Web3. The Everything that you've shared and all the steps that are involved in Web 2, we recognize, or we seem to be able to recognize, that development work takes significant time, right? In the real world, we understand that if a new, let's say, a new home or apartment building is being built in our community, it is going to take time for it to be built. In Web3, there is this assumption or belief that time is like non existent, right? That everything can and should be built in the smallest fraction of time there is. So it's such a fascinating and that's why too it's almost like we should ask people to be builders before consumers, because the consumer mentality in Web3, and by the way, I lived it too because I was a consumer before I was a builder in the space. The consumer mentality in Web3 is very challenging. It is really, really hard, right? So, what you shared a couple minutes ago, so many different opportunities to build and design, everything from looking at loot distribution to leaderboards to customization of roaches to wagering. All of those things are not like a light switch, they are progressions, right, to get to what's ultimately what's best for the project and best for the community, but it takes time. And that's one of the other harder parts of being a builder, is helping sometimes yourself. I mean, I wish things would go faster too, right? But helping users also understand that the work is happening. It's not any different than work that happens in real life. So our perspectives on it, right, we have to also be the same. So I think that's a really fascinating part about the Web3 space too.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you know what? I think like your point about time. Um, I think that Web3 audience, in a way, is spoiled by scammers that the with the like with those projects who were promising like crazy
Yes.
things being delivered in like here's our roadmap, like in one, like in a couple of months this thing gonna be live, like we're gonna have a metaverse, we're gonna have like MMORPG on chain, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have that, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah," and so people was thinking like, "Okay, this thing's gonna be so fast, and the future is bright, and like it's tomorrow," but in reality, it takes so much time to actually build something. I was actually expecting this. I was actually expecting last year to be kind of GameFi Renaissance year because
Yeah, I agree.
lots of projects that have been like raising huge funds in 21, 22. I was thinking like 2 years should be, we should touch something within 2 years. But you
Right.
know what, we have been building our game for 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
we are not crazy funded huge team, like serial game builders, kind of team. I mean, for but still, we could have done faster, maybe. But overall, even what you see right now, it's a pretty complicated product
For sure.
because you know what, it's in browser. You don't
Yep.
have to download anything. It is a web, like it is connected with on chain,
Yep.
so there is like different layers, and actually it's not only on desktop. Even though like I know that we have quite some problems with mobile version right now, but still it is there, and it's gonna be better like in the coming weeks, and so and just think about it, like we have so many types of mobile phones, operating systems, different browsers and stuff like that, and you have to think that like for some people they don't understand that, for example, Safari and iPhone is a huge pain in the ass, like
Yeah. Right.
they do crazy stuff, like for example our Android versions. are much more stable than iPhone versions, and you have to find, like, we have testers. We have our guys who is working on like collecting bugs. They have
Sure.
like they have different mobile phones in front of them, different desktops, and they like, okay, so if it's working or
Right.
not. So building this stable version, and also just keep in mind that it's a competitive multiplayer game.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to think it's not something that like, so you have to host, you have to think about matchmaking, you have to think about like how many servers you have, how many users you have at this moment. So it's a very, very challenging thing, even though for some people they were like, okay, what they have been doing 2 years. Man, man, I mean, but the cool thing, I mean, what's the best thing about us, in my opinion, like from the business perspective, what was the best decision we ever made? We could have made, we could have dropped an NFT collection 2 years before, because in 2022, 2023, we already been live. We already had a Twitter account. We already had a brand. We already have
Yeah.
everything, and we actually did like lots of collabs and stuff. We could have dropped an NFT collection, and make people. We, we actually was thinking that we're gonna be faster, and we could have dropped the collection during this NFT. It was still a pretty good moment to drop NFT.
Sure.
We could have collected funds, but we decided that we don't want to be in the same boat with all those projects that drop the collection, and you have, I don't know, a couple of thousand people who are sitting in the Discord and like, okay, I fucking bought this NFT. Now what?
Now what? Right.
One game. and
Yeah.
so and right now, so the best decision was to actually deliver the game and drop the collection.
Yeah.
So those who are buying our boxes, who bought boxes or buying on the secondary, they do understand. So this is the product. They can check the Twitter. They can check the game. They can see that, wow, there are people playing it. There are
Yeah.
people enjoying it. There are people that streaming it. There are people who actually. There are some people who are playing for several hours a day. There are some people who spend money there already
Yeah.
for cosmetic issues. It's not, wagering is not even there, but there are people who are like, they like the universe, they like
Yeah.
the roses, they like the storytelling, they like the design, they like the music, they like to be part of it. We have 300 plus application for ambassador program, and we already
Nice.
have pretty cool, I mean, amazing ambassadors are coming on board. And you know what, it's just because they share the vision, they share.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're
So yeah,
connected to it.
yeah. So there's been this kind of trend, or how to call it, this way of doing a web-free GameFi business, is that you promise, you collect money, and then, okay, in 2026, 2027, something might be there. and
Right.
this
Yeah. Maybe.
and this thing, in a way, it really, I don't think that spoiled is a good word, but it affected the market expectations and how
Yep.
people in general think about GameFi business. So right now, that's why the general narrative, the general sentiment of GameFi is so low, because
Yeah.
everyone is actually, like, those who invested, they fucked. I'm sorry to tell that. I mean, sorry for my
Yeah.
English.
No. 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 Right.
Uh, and,
Because.
and, and that's the reality. And it's so few projects actually delivered and then tried to monetize it. It's amazing, but still there are some good projects. There are some good projects that are doing things, and
Yeah.
I am still a very big believer in GameFi overall, in web free gaming. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a believer in mm, in gaming when where you can literally own the asset, you can, you can own the game. We invite people to own our game.
Yeah,
Like, if you're owning a our loot box, you own part of our game, because
for sure.
inside there will be our core token. Then this token will be a general kind of engine of our game, and you will own it. And on the one hand, this possibility of decentralized ownership, but on the other hand, I think the beauty of overall building in Web3 is about you. I think we in Web3 are very, very transparent. Like transparency is, I mean, there's like a lot of Web2 projects, Web2 games. You won't ever see the founder.
That's right.
Like, I have almost every day I have spaces. Almost I'm here, like in the chat, in Telegram, in Discord. Right now I'm
Yeah,
talking to you, but on the other hand, I sent the in Telegram and to my community, like, hey guys, hop in.
come check it out. Yeah,
Come if you have question, write it down. I will answer them in real time.
yep,
This is me, this is my face, this is my product. Yeah, we're good at this, we're better than that.
right.
Completely transparent, building for you, and you can like be with us and build with us. Like
Yeah,
those people who are sending the feedback right now, so sharing the like the ideas, suggestions, they're building with us. So that's the beauty of this thing. So
right,
on the one hand, lots of ugliness, but on the other hand, let's not forget about the beauty. Let's not
right.
forget about the, like one guy is always telling, Web3 gaming is inevitable. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And that's the beauty of Web3, that if you are willing to take the time to find those projects that are really a match for you, right? That align with who you are and what you're interested in, you can find those gems. They're there. And what you also have to do is, if you have to minimize the noise, right? And separate from um, the the scams, the garbage, the projects that um, are, like uh, looking for investment with no plans to ever deliver anything, right? I mean, goodness knows, I invested in a fair number of projects thinking that there would be not an expectation that everything would be done in a set period of time, but where there's like nothing, like nothing ever materialized, right? And so it's great when you have a project like Roach Racing Club that there is a tangible like product, right? Same thing with Spredict. You can go and use our DApp. It's live, right? You can make your picks. You can begin accumulating points, right? And then when other things go online, when we have our Spredict Pass and subscriptions live, when we add additional games, at least, right? People know that there is something there. It's not just like an idea that never forms, with which happens so much in Web3. So it's awesome. What you're building is fantastic. Love to hear about it, and also the thinking behind the scenes. And so what we like to do during our Spredict live calls is also take a couple minutes to do some picks and do
Of course,
some predictions live. I mean, the basis of our platform. Yeah.
so Spredict is already live on chain or still in a testnet?
So it is live. The DApp is on the abstract testnet and will go
Ah,
mainnet within the next couple weeks. But
okay, okay,
you
okay, cool.
can, yeah, you can record your picks, right? Everything is operating like
Mhm.
the DApp is up, right? You can make use of it. And so, for us, that was important too, because again, you want to be able to say to people, this is actually something you can use, right? Not that it's perfect, right? Not that you've developed everything, but it's actually usable. And just by saying that, it puts you in a very small segment of Web3, right? That has a usable product. So I'm actually going to share my screen, and we'll make some picks. So for anybody who wants to, dap.spredict.io is the web address. So I'll pull it up, and then we can talk briefly about the fights that we've got coming up and that we're looking at for tomorrow's UFC Fight Night. And as I'm pulling up my screen, Fight Night tomorrow actually takes place. It'll be at the UFC building in Las Vegas at the Apex, and there's a couple interesting fights there. There are two fights that have substitute fighters, which are always really interesting. Kape versus Almabayev. Kape was supposed to fight Brandon Royal. He was injured. Then Cody Brundage is now fighting against Julian Marquez, right? And so it's always really interesting when there are substitutions that occur too. So let me just share my screen and pull
Yeah,
that up.
yeah.
Let's see.
To be honest, like you're talking right now to the very normie level of guy. I mean, I no, even worse. I never ever made a single bet on sport in my life. I don't. I have no idea how it works at all. So I think I'm the
Yeah,
perfect consumer to on board.
that's
Yeah,
great.
even though I have a pretty huge risk appetite. I mean, I'm still fucking holding Ethereum. so
Me too. Well,
so
I was thinking when you were talking about the Roaches people race, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be an Ethereum racer, and I'm just going to run with Ethereum. That's it. And if at least I know my Roach will keep moving. Hopefully. So
backwards.
yeah, right. I know at this point. My goodness. So so that's awesome. So let me explain a little bit about our portal and our DApp, and then you can log in and make your picks. So one thing I just want to share on the left side of our DApp, you'll see kind of the different calling them DApp categories that we have. Formula One will go live again when the season starts in a couple weeks, and Max, one of our co-founders, is a huge F1 fan, so he's really excited about that. We're also building out some crypto prediction games for those who are not necessarily into sports and would rather make predictions around asset fluctuations. You'll see a button that's where for rewards for once our seasonal passes and Spredict passes go live, you'll be able to claim any of your winnings there. And then our Spredict pass, which will go live we anticipate around the time where our Formula One games go live. That's where you'll be able to buy monthly or seasonal subscriptions. So the good news is, if you are not a sports bettor predictor, you'll always be able to play for free. So part of what we want to do is keep our DApp as inclusive as possible. And for those who want to play for funds, you'll buy, similar to what you were talking about, Roach Coach, with the tiers you're thinking about for wagering, right? There'll also be tiered subscriptions. And so based on people's risk tolerance, will determine what level of pass they would like. The really nice thing is you buy a pass and then you can play for that period of time. So you're not making separate bets, or you don't have to spend funds beyond that subscription pass, right? So if you buy a subscription for a month, you get to engage in all the gaming in that sport category for the entire month, right? Think we're kind of like the Netflix or Spotify of predictive gaming, right? You pay a subscription fee and then you play and use the DApp. And some parts of the DApp, as I shared, will be open for people free to play who don't want to get involved in the subscription side, right? So that's kind of like the general element to how we're set up. And to connect, as I shared, we're on testnet, right? So you can just click connect, right? You can log in with your email, continue with a wallet, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna stop sharing real quick, only because I think I must have logged out, and so I'm gonna log back in with my email.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I mind sharing my email out, but still, I'm not gonna share that on screen at the moment. So,
Yeah, it happens.
um, yeah. But so right now, all I'm doing is I log back in. I'm going to plug in my abstract login code. Right, gave me success. I've approved, and
Yeah.
now
While,
I'll reshare.
while you're logging in, can I just answer one question that I
Yeah, yeah.
so deep in our Discord, there is a question that if we are going to establish, like if roaches are going to be NFT and will be able to sell them on the marketplace, the answer is yes. Breeding, yes, as well. Oh,
Oh,
so
cool.
so yeah, you will be able to trade your roaches in some time, but you will have to conduct specific actions to do that. I'm
Oh,
not going.
awesome.
I cannot tell you like right now what's the whole process will be, but you will be able to put your roaches on chain, and yeah, we believe there will be a meta like we're not talking about like the way they see, but also what kind of assets they are connected with. But yeah, I promised to answer this question right now, so sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but you're logged in, Fred. Yeah, we can proceed.
yeah. Right.
Nice.
So now I'm scrolling down to our upcoming fight night, and one thing I want to share that the your Discord question made me think a little bit about is one of the also nice things about creating um, subscriptions and engaging in predictive gaming in this way is because they're time bound, we can do some really interesting things. So, for instance, let's say that we wanted to create some sort of partnership, right, with Roach Racing Club and Spredict, and we'd put something together uh, on the Roach Racing Club portal, right? And then also on Spredict. And one of the fun things is because our subscriptions run for at least like a month, right? We can reward and award some really interesting prizes based on projects that we work with too. So, for instance, you might members of a Roach Racing Club community, maybe they're really big F1 fans. They really like racing in general, right? And so we might say, well, wouldn't it be cool if Roach Racing Club sponsored one of the months of our F1 subscription, right? So you could, for instance, take like a roach that lives in the treasury, right, and offer it up as a leaderboard prize, right, to not only make it a cool sponsorship, but also to bring additional eyes to Roach Racing Club, right? So one of the really interesting things is that unlike a traditional betting establishment where you put money on a bet and then you win those funds back, the subscription costs that people are paying, either through our native token, through stables, whatever it might be, prizes that people earn don't have to be in that same currency. So we can certainly award bulls or we can award our native token, but we can also give like project swag from other projects too. So there's some really interesting ways that we can think about partnerships, sponsorships. How do we connect the prizes we give with the types of games that people are playing, right? And so we're in talks, for instance, with some fighters in different programs of MMA, right? And so potential prizes could be meet and greets. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff we can do that wouldn't be possible if we were running a prediction market where a prediction was settled immediately on just one thing, right? So it's kind of an interesting opportunity too. So if you log in, right, you've got the fights, and just to talk a little bit about them, that first fight on there, and I don't, what's amazing about UFC and MMA is that all of these guys are so awesome, right, and so athletic, and so I don't know, for Kape versus Almabayev, have you thought a little bit about who might win? Do you have any predictions for that one, Roach Coach?
I have zero clue like
Okay.
who are these guys, but you know what?
Okay.
Let me do this like so. Flyweight is like the lightest weight, right? And so
They're one of the lightest weights. Yes.
yeah. You know what? I will bet on my. I have some friends from Kazakhstan, and I see that Almabayev.
He's a
Uh,
he's Kazakh. Yeah.
yeah. So I will be betting on my Kazakhstan friends.
I
Let me
love
put
it.
it this way.
I love it. So let me tell you a little bit about these two guys too. So this is one of the fights where there was a substitution at the end, and so both of these guys, if you were to watch them, they are not only do they tend to be like the lower weight classes, right, but also because they fit into that category because they're also very short, right? So I don't know how tall you are, Roach Coach. I'm a pretty short guy. I'm like 5'6", right? But these guys are even shorter than me. And what is amazing, so like both of them I think are like 5'5", right? So super short. But Kape has a longer reach, right? So his limbs are longer. So when you're a really short person with longer reach, it puts you at a significant advantage because, right, like if your limbs are longer, you can punch or kick somebody while the other guy can't reach you. So that makes an incredible difference in these types of fights. Kape also had a really impressive KO against another fighter, Bruno Silva, just a couple months ago. And these two guys are really, really fast. I remember, so I'm like an 80s kid, right? I was born, 1979 is when I was born. And growing up, when I was in like middle school, early high school, one of the big games at arcades was Street Fighter, right? And so one of the characters, right? My goodness, and I'm trying to, I think it was Zagat, right? Was I think the fighter, and you could do through a number of button pushes. He would throw punches really quickly, right? Like his fists would really fly. These guys, these two, Kape and Almabayev, they're like Zagat. Their fists move so fast that it's really hard to keep up with them. So Almabayev, since joining UFC, not lost a fight, and both of them are really strategic and patient fighters. So my thing is, I believe if Kape can land solid punches in those first couple rounds, I feel like he'll tire out Almabayev and win. But if it is a fight where both of the guys are exchanging punches and kicks pretty equally, I think Almabayev ends up pulling it out for the win. So I find it hard to bet in any type of fighting against a Kazakh. I can't. Anybody who's from Kazakhstan, if I bet against them in any type of MMA fighting, I lose. So I'm going with Almabayev One, because great fighter, but also because he's from Kazakhstan, and I
Let's
know that
go.
if I bet against him, I will lose.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. So
Yeah,
this next
by
group,
the way,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm 1985 and Street Fighter was right in front of me, man. I spent so much
Right?
time playing
It
it.
was such a good game. Um, I remember putting my quarters, right? Putting my quarters on the machine to get like the
Yeah.
next fight, and I I was really pretty strong. Ken, Ryu, uh, Sagat, Chun Li. I'm trying to think of who some of the other characters who I didn't. Oh, was it Oh my goodness, what was his name? He was like a monster.
Blanca.
Wasn't Yes. Oh my
Blanca.
goodness.
I love
Yes.
Blanca. Like
Blanca
this
was fantastic.
electroshock.
Yes.
Electroshock. Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic. Right. So, oh, such a great game. So
Yeah.
many good
Absolutely.
memories too. Um,
Okay. Let's go
so
to
the
the middle.
middleweights. Yeah,
Middleweight.
you've got two Americans, right? Let me
Okay.
just tell you a little bit. Both of these guys um, are almost exactly the same. Their records are very similar. Their weight, their stance, their reach, all the same. And one thing that sets them apart, let me tell you a little bit. Um, so Cody Brundage, I think is actually crazy. I think he's like somewhat nuts. He the way he fights is really intense. About a year ago, he fought another fighter, Reese. And it was like a wrestling match. He picked Reese up and like choke slammed him into the mat, right, and knocked him out and won. Um, he is a very he's both a versatile fighter, and then he also um, he's not I don't find him particularly strategic. He will win in any means necessary, right? The other guy, Julian Marquez, whose nickname is the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's his nickname. Um, he hasn't he's all of his fights over the last 3 years have been losses. So he's at the point in his career for a lot of fighters where they need a win, right? If they don't win at this point, it's really hard for them to continue. But he's also become a true media personality. He like told Miley Cyrus he loves her and was in this whole weird thing. I mean, so this is a guy who really plays up the media side of sports, which is huge and really important in a sport like UFC, because the crowd and the audience is such a big factor. So who are you thinking? Who would you go with, Brundage or Marquez? Who do you want to pick for this one?
I like the story of Brundage being a crazy guy. This time I'm betting on the craziness.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are 2 for 2. I am with Brundage as well on this one. In my eyes, anybody who is going to choke slam another fighter and knock him out on the mat, I cannot bet against. As much as I like Marquez, as much as I think he is a media star and can certainly win, I'm going with Brundage for this one as well. All right, next we've got our lightweight. It's Haqparast and Ribovics. I'll give you just a little bit about these two guys. Haqparast is from Morocco. Esteban Ribovics from Argentina. Ribovics has only lost one fight. He's 14-1, which is really impressive. Haqparast is the fighter with more of the physical advantages. He has a longer reach. He's got a really great record over the last few years. He's won his last 4 fights over the past 2 years. Amazing knockout of Jamie Malarkey in 2023. He fought hard for a contested win against Jared Gordon, where the two guys were literally just punching each other out throughout the end of that end of that fight. Ribovics looks good as well. His most recent win was a split decision in his favor. It was a really, really intense fight where the guys finished up. They were beaten. They were bloodied. It was pretty crazy. And Ribovics also has one of the most memeable KOs in UFC history. He had in the first of a fight against another fighter, McKinney. He delivered this head kick that literally knocked this guy out. I mean, he just crumbled to the mat. So Ribovics, I'll tell you, is heavily favored. So Vegas likes him a lot, even though their records, are very similar. So who do you want to go with? Hakparast from Morocco, Ribovics from Argentina. What's your pick?
I would go for Hakparas this time because again I'm biased because
Yeah.
we have a very strong guy like one of my I can call him a friend, and also he's a huge colleague in Roach Racing Club, and he's from Morocco originally. So I have a bias, and I've never been to Morocco. I
Yeah.
hope I hope I will be there one day. Even though I have been to Argentina, I've spent there almost 4 months or something like that.
Oh,
Maybe
cool.
quite less. I actually I love Argentina as well. Have a lot of respect, even though recent meme actions from Argentina were quite
Right.
frustrating from the perspective of the president. so
Yeah. Yeah.
so Hakparas is my choice this time.
Okay. So I'm going to say that I respect that choice. On this one, I am going to differ. I'm going to go with Vegas on this one and go with the chalky picks, and I'm going to pick Ribovics. My reason is, and by the way, I think this fight is going to be an awesome fight to watch. It's really hard for me to pick between these two fighters, but the I I love memeable fights. I love rounds that end with crazy KOs, and that head kick that Ribovics delivered uh, to McKinney was something that like I had to watch it a number of times in the replay because it was so intense. So I'm gonna take Ribovics in this one, right? So no matter what, one of us is gonna come out, at least for now, on top in the picks, right? And then the last. So here we are, our final battle. This is we've got Haider Emil taking on William Gomez. Okay, so the Philippines versus France in this fight. Gomez has the height and the reach. He's also the Vegas favorite. Amel has been a knockout machine. 3 of his last 4 fights have been via knockout, which is pretty impressive. He last fought in July against Lee, and that fight was over so quickly that Lee was like literally blown out of the water. He was like up against the fencing of the octagon, like he didn't know what hit him. The punches that were thrown were crazy. This was also like another example of Zagat from Street Fighter. Gomez has fought incredibly well too. Gomez has not lost a fight since 2016, by the way. This one will be an intense one, and yeah, okay. So who would you select? Who's your pick? Make a pick.
Mm, it's a hard question this time. But I will go for France. the future of
Okay.
once.
Well, I love that. And this one for me, I could go with either one. I think both of them stand a very good chance of taking this win. But because I like some good competition, I like there to be some difference in selections. I'm gonna take a meal on this one and hope that his crazy Zagat like fists come out and give me the win. So I want to record this. I want to record our picks real quickly. I'm going to throw them into the chat on abstract too. So you've got Gomez for this one, and then Fred. I've got Emil. I've got Brundage. I've got, let me go. Before I lock in my picks, I've got Ribovics and I've got Almabayev. So I'm just popping this into here. Almabayev, and then Ribovics. And that way, right, we're locked in. Okay, we've got those picks. And now I'm going to lock in on the DAP as well. Just going to validate my prediction, get a little authorization from abstract. Right? I mean, connecting to AGW was so great and it worked out so well, right? So I'm locked in, I'm done, my picks are in, and now we wait. And hopefully, I come out as the winner for
so,
for Toro's picks.
so that's it. Yeah, you just snap the button. That's it.
That's it.
Everything's correct.
Validate. Picks are in, on chain, locked in. We're good to go, right?
Okay.
And so what's great is as people are playing now, even before subscriptions are live, we're recording their picks. They're earning points for what will be kind of like airdrops ahead of our token launch. And so anybody who's listening who wants to take part, have some fun, get your picks in. It's all free at this point. And again, just as a quick reminder, you can go to dap.spredict.io, make those picks, and have some fun and hopefully win. And what you'll see as we go through the fights this weekend, Roach Coach and I will see how we do, right? One of us is going to, we've got two different picks, so it could still end up being a tie, but maybe one of us will win, and then we'll have some bragging rights for for our communities. So, Roach Coach, amazing. Appreciate you joining. Anything before we wrap up that you want to share, either about Roach Racing Club or things that are on your mind?
I think no. I think I'm good. I mean, I have to run. I have to deliver some announcement. So I know that people are waiting for some news from
Of
us.
course.
And what I can tell is that uh, the very important announcement everyone is waiting will be done within maybe 10-15 minutes. So
Woo!
from our side, and I think early next week we are going to start the wagering, and
Amazing.
things gonna be boiling, and you will see not only the new game mode, but also you will see the new racetrack,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, we're gonna be having fun. We're gonna be having new music, new style, new things. Yeah,
Love it.
let's cook. Let's cook. Yeah, who
So
knows? Maybe we
let's
can see something from Spredict on those racetracks.
let's do it. I'm
Let's
in. We're in. We love partnerships. We love connecting. I am
yeah.
excited to get involved with the wagering. I'm excited to continue to see the great work that you're doing. If you have not yet checked out Roach Racing Club, please do so. Follow Roach Coach. Connect with them. Get in there, and thank you, Roach Coach, for
Thank you.
joining us
Thank
for
you
this
for
episode of
calling us
Predict
a
Live.
virtual. Yeah, let's let
Awesome.
let's do something for our
Let's do it.
community. All the best.
All right. See you all later. Thanks, everybody.
Adios.